Wachira, tukiwa tunakuletea matangazo haya moja kwa moja kutoka Simastea Karen, huku walimu wakisema kuwa wanalaumiwa kwa hizo mimba za mapema kwa 2% peke yake. Sasa 98% wanasema zinatoka kwengine, lakini wazazi wanasema kuna zaidi ambalo linastahili kufanywa, na kuhakikishia kuwa leo kipindi kitakuwa moto kama pasi ya makaa. Waihiga.
Asante sana Mashirima Kapombe. Let me immediately introduce my panel here. We're at Simastea. This is the Center for Maths, Science, Technology and Education in Africa in Karen, and this is where we're going to be having this particular discussion. Let me get straight into introducing my panel. Let me start from my far right there. We have Akelo Misori, the Secretary General, Kenya Union of Post-Primary Education Teachers, KUPPET. Welcome to the program.
Good evening, viewers.
Thank you. Right next to him is Beatrice Njeri, Head of Access to Justice at CRU. Welcome to the program as well.
Thank you.
We have Dr. Nelson Makanda, who is the Deputy General Secretary, NCCK. Karibu sana, Daktari.
Good evening. Thank you.
And right next to me, we have Miriam Wachira, the Deputy Executive Director, FIDA. Welcome as well.
Thank you.
I briefly want to mention that joining us also is Peter Munga from NAT Communications Desk and Nicholas Mayo, the Chair of the National Parents Association. I'll be engaging them both shortly as well. We had invited the Teacher Service Commission to join us for this discussion, but they did not send a representative. Bwana Akelo, let me come straight to you. Let me give you the numbers that we have here. 1,077 teachers sacked because of behavior over the last 8 years. That's an average of 135 teachers every year. First of all, do those numbers concern you, because those are some of your members, and what measures is your institution taking to ensure that those numbers go down?
First, let me say that it is unfortunate that such figures are being flagged on issues which are not very kind to hear about in this country. But I must also say that it is also unfortunate that we are doing very little so much as a nation, and maybe to address the issue of gaps which are in the teacher preparation towards taking up responsibility as professionals in this field. As a union, we don't want to condone pests in the profession, and we have ensured that there is zero tolerance to this.
So you're condoning their behavior?
We have zero tolerance to this, and we don't want to condone any such behavior. And we have said we are not going to protect such teachers who are culpable in this area. Yes.
Okay, thank you for that. Beatrice, let me come to you. TSC identified and pushed for the sacking of these over 1,000 teachers.
Yes.
It still remains unclear on whether they'll be charged in court and the whole process in regards to that. Just help us understand what your body has been doing in regards to actually taking TSC or defending students where such cases have arisen.
So we have tried to help TSC come up with mechanisms on how to prevent sexual violence, because most of their standards in place deal with response. In 2013, we had a case in court where the TSC was given guidelines by Justice Mombi Ngoge in Petition 331 of 2013 regarding how to put in place mechanisms for teachers to act while in school, placed with the duty of care equal to that of a parent, and charged with the prevention of sexual violence that happens to students. Over and above that, TSC was held liable for any acts of violence that happened to students caused by teachers while in school.
Okay. How far along is that case, briefly?
Briefly, the TSC was held liable for the damage to the girls, because we don't look at justice from the point of view of the students. So if the teacher is charged in court and convicted, he goes to jail.
Okay.
But what about the girl or the boy who has been sexually violated? They remain out there. Their school is over. So they were awarded damages for the violence they had suffered and the violations they had suffered under the teacher. And TSC was held liable. The government was also held liable, and the school Jamhuri Primary was also held liable.
Okay.
Unfortunately, they have never paid the damages.
They have never paid the damages.
Yes.
Okay, we'll come back and talk a bit more about that, but it was important that that comes out. Dr. Makanda, let me come to you. According to TSC CEO Nancy Macharia, she actually said teachers were responsible for only 2% of pregnancies. If you look at the 1,077 versus the over 300,000 teachers that we have in this country. And she added in that sitting before Senate that I believe you were at, that local communities were more notorious for preying on schoolgirls. Now, some would dismiss that as an excuse or avoiding responsibility. But in cases like that, let's talk about the responsibility of other bodies, the parents, the church, etc., where these students would spend their time when they're out of school.
I think allow me to begin by saying that this is not a small matter. It's a serious matter because one child who is violated and their life is ruined and they drop out of school, but not only dropping out of schools, they will live with this memory of violation the rest of their lives. Some are made to be parents at a very tender age, and so they begin to take care of children when they are children themselves. And so it is a grievous matter that we are discussing about. Allow me to say that this responsibility does not just lie on teachers. I think we have looked at teachers because of the responsibility and the honor that and privilege that teachers are given.
And they also spend the most time, possibly with the children.
With the children, to be part of the lives of our children in their formation. But however, I do think that the community at large has a role to play. Parents have a role to play. What is it that parents are doing with their children? And particularly the role of the mother. I think as we have continued to emphasize on girl-child empowerment, we have devalued the role of the mother in the formation of children. And so children are left to other caregivers who are not parents, and so the care and the debriefing that is required so that then somebody can learn and know that this child is going through a difficult time or is encountering things that are challenging, so that then you equip them and help them. The parents are not there because they are pursuing a career, and especially the mother is not at home. And I do think that we need to think about the role of parenting, so that we give a little bit more support.
What about, and sorry to interrupt you, the role of the church and religious groups?
Yes, I'm coming.
You're coming to that, great.
Yeah, I'm coming to that, so that then the mother is given an impetus, a motivation, so that then their role of mothering children and supporting formation is not devalued, because we have devalued that. But secondly, coming to the role of religion, allow me to say that studies have been made globally, and here I hold a study, a journal of adolescent research. It's an American journal.
It looks like a long statement. Give me the brief, the brief
this
summary.
Was done in 2004, and the conclusion of this research, which is about religiosity and adolescent sex behavior. The conclusion is that religious beliefs and adherence to a faith delays sexual debut amongst teenagers. And so we have devalued the role of religion and particularly the role of faith and the place that it plays in delaying sexual debut. Because the challenge here is that we have not put enough sanctions in society, and without enough sanctions, then children are free, they engage freely, but yet it is clear that when we emphasize a faith, it doesn't have to be Christian faith, even any other faith, any faith, it delays sexual debut.
Fair point.
Yes,
I'll come back to you to get a bit more about that. You've opened a very interesting aspect, but let me also bring in Miriam just to get your reaction to this. Miriam, TSC complained of inadequate prosecution of offenders, especially because some cases actually go unreported. What does society need to do? What do schools, what do parents, what does the government need to do to help open up the discussion so that if children have gone through such a situation, they feel free to report, parents also don't feel the stigma? What more needs to be done in your experience?
I think what needs to be done is simplifying the system of reporting. One, even just walking into the police station, making it friendly, activating the gender desk, activating the child protection units, so that parents can feel free, or a child can feel free to walk into a police station without the worry of stigmatization. Also, just in schools, have we educated our children? Do they know where to report? Do they know what is a good touch? Do they know what to do if somebody touches them badly?
Inappropriately.
Inappropriately. Do they even at home, do they have a trusted friend, a trusted adult who they can report to? So it's creating those networks where the child feels safe and easy to report.
Okay. Those are some very good, interesting opening statements from my panel here. But Mashirima, I believe there are tons of questions from the audience. Kwako sasa.
Maswali ni mengi Wahiga, lakini huku nikimpatia nafasi Nathaniel Mongare mahali alipo akiwa anajipanga. Ningependa tu kumpatia nafasi mwakilishi wa muungano wa wazazi humu nchini Nicholas Mayo atueleze kile ambacho Akelo Misori amesema hapo kuwa walimu wanalaumiwa sana. Nafasi ya wazazi ni ipi? Bwana Mayo, naomba usimame.
Asante.
I'll hold it for you.
Okay. Kwa kweli Bwana Misori umesema hayo. Lakini sisi wazazi yale ambaye TSC ilifanya tunaona kama haitoshi. Sana sana tunataka tukiwa wazazi hao walimu ambao walitulumu wasichana wetu wastakiwe, wawekwe ndani na wakae huko korogoroni, ndio wajue kwamba hii mambo itasimama. Lakini wasipofungwa au wasipopelekwa au kotini, the 2% will increase to 5%. Pili, I want to also say, as parents, we want to enhance education, guidance and sexuality to our parents. That is for the parents to know that it is their responsibility to take care of their children. It is their obligation. These children were given to them by God. And as NPA, I want to emphasize that as Parents Association, every parent who has a child in school is a member of National Parents Association.
Lakini kwa wale ambao wanasema kuwa wazazi hawajajukumika, wameachia walimu majukumu yao.
Watu wengine.
Even ndio tunasema kwamba we want to take action on the parents. We will prosecute those parents who don't take their application in the right way.
Naam, asante sana. Tarudi kwako manake maswali kuna mengine ambayo yanatoka kwa wale ambao wameweza kuungana nasi kwa sasa. Lakini Nathaniel Mongare ana swali.
Yes. Naam, kwa majina naitwa Nathaniel Mongare, akadima, na mimi I'm the national spokesperson of the ANC Youth League. Sikia leo ningependa kuuliza Bwana Akelo Misori, the Secretary General of the Teachers Union, that some of the cases that have been reported have been caused by the teachers, some of the teachers. This premeditated sex with minors. Why is it that in some instances the unions are fairly protecting or defending the teachers against some of these vices that are affecting our young people?
Thank you. Bwana Misori, you could answer that question and probably I'll be able to give...
I think it would be an overstatement to say that unions are overprotecting. But as I alluded to earlier, I did indicate that, one, in many instances there is a lot of framing. But where there is credible information, where information and the teachers have been rightfully identified to have been the cause, we have no business protecting such teachers. But we would go a mile higher to ensure that nobody maliciously reports a teacher and then the teacher loses a job. Our work is to ensure that we look at the just bit of this aspect. The society is so weak. We have got so many weird people who are reporting these people, teachers, to civil rights organizations, and therefore you find a teacher's name has been reported in a newspaper. And therefore, the following day, the Teacher Service Commission takes up the matter and the teacher is interdicted. There, where there is no proven evidence that this teacher is involved, simply because of malicious reporting.
Bwana Misori, if I can just ask you a brief question, because I know we need to take a break. My question to you is there any way, is there a system in which a teacher can report another teacher without fearing victimization in a clear, transparent manner? Is that possible? Is that happening?
Perfect. In the school system, we have guidance and counseling teachers where the students have the right to report. We also have class teachers. We also have subject teachers. The pupils of the students have the right to report even this to prefects. So teachers themselves have the responsibility to ensure that they monitor each other. In fact, in every school situation, the head teacher is an agent of the employer. That teacher should be protective enough and should ensure that any confidential information that is reported to him or her is at least taken very seriously. And if pupils or students report these matters, they are taken up.
Okay.
And I think most instances, we have just wild allegations which do not add up.
Just wild allegations is what you see?
Just wild allegations,
okay. Some of the panelists here don't agree. I'll come back and get their reaction when we take a break, but Mashirima needs to take us there. Mashirima.
Na Wahiga, ukisema kuwa kuna hilo swala pia, tukirejea tutakuwa tunampatia nafasi Bwana Peter Amunga ambaye ni mwakilishi kutoka chama cha walimu humu nchini aweze pia kutoa kauli yake aliyotoa awali kabla ya kwanza